Hello, people. Welcome back to the Curious Mind podcast. And today, I have a very special individual on. I have the main man, Will, who recently smashed a half marathon. But yeah, and I know there's no really easy way to go about this, mate, but give a little introduction to yourself.
Yeah. So I thought that I'm Will. Just did the half marathon. Never in a million days or years or whatever you want to call it did I think I'd ever do that. I think it's always been in the back of my mind, but the way I've always yo-yoed, sort of like gone full force into like sort of fitness and then just yo-yoed off, yo-yoed in, yo-yoed off. It's always been like one of them. Will
Yeah.
it? Sorry about that weird noise that you might have just.
Nah, mate, you're all good. So, reflecting on the event then, like, how do you feel about it?
It's still, if I'm being honest, it still feels like a dream. It's because it's such a big achievement, and obviously it took place over the place like 2 hours, was it? 1 hour 58 and 30 or something?
Yeah.
Just to drop the time in there. It just still it seems a little bit surreal, like it's a dream kind of thing. And I know sort of one of the things that I don't know, one of the photos that Sharon took, so Sharon's my mate that came with us. One of the photos she took after, I just look a little bit bewildered and out of it. And I think it was because in that moment, it was almost my body wanted to keep on running. My body told me to stop. The marathon thing told me to stop. The atmosphere was so electric. And it was almost, I didn't know where to look first. But like my whole body wanted to shut down. But at the same time, my whole body just wanted to carry on.
Yeah.
It's like, it was such a surreal moment coming over. I mean, I kind of got the finish line a little bit mixed up, didn't I? Because I carried on, I kept trying to carry on, didn't I? But yeah, it's still mad to think that I did it.
On that then, what kept you going? Like, why did you not quit? Because there's many moments in there where, like, it got hard, you know, because no one quits in the first mile or the last mile of a marathon. Like, that's how the quote goes. So, how did you get yourself through that tricky middle?
I think it was just like keeping in the back of my mind everything that I've done and I've got to get to that point. And I think it was a little bit of it was as well the disappointment I'd have to, I'm going to have to go see my mum, I'm going to have to go see my mate, all these people I've told that I'm doing, almost like I'm going to have to tell them all I failed. Not necessarily like, would that be a bad thing? Not necessarily, but it's just almost, for me anyway, the embarrassment of hyping this up for so long, and then all of a sudden, how did it go, Will? Oh, well, I kind of, and like, everyone finds an excuse when they need one, me included, and it's like, I would have had to just find an excuse, but it still would have been really embarrassing, I suppose.
That's such a powerful thing, because public accountability is like easy fire up your ass in terms of getting stuff done. Because I think even myself and probably yourself and anyone that might be listening to this, it's very easy to fail yourself in private.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one thing that I did different this time as well, was sort of like, even though nobody really looks at my Instagram, it was like I just made a point of putting on my Instagram, putting on my Facebook about when I was going for a run, when I wasn't. And it was sort of like, there were a couple of times where I did miss runs. I know we spoke about them times when I missed them, like, obviously won't go into bits and bits of each ones that I might have missed or change the days of. But it was almost like there were people local to where I live that did see it just because I was like maybe friends with them. And it was sort of like, there were a few times where I couldn't walk down the shop without someone being like, oh, you're not running, why are you walking, get on. And it was almost like sort of, I could bash them off with the comments of, oh no, that's tomorrow. Whereas it's almost, like I said, I knew full well that I wouldn't be able to do that if I quit midway. Plus it was a bit like, fuck you to my body, like. And so you've spent so much time and so much effort running around that part. Why would you like give up halfway through the actual main thing you've been building up to?
That's such a fascinating point as well. Like, not being able to quit in that tricky middle. So I actually want to take you back to the sort of start of your journey, because I think getting that initial momentum is so difficult towards your goal, because like again the half marathon was a very spontaneous thing, like we didn't decide on it, but how did you continue to show up for yourself and sort of trust the process when, like, in the beginning you don't see loads of results, you don't see like body fat and like dropping off like instantly, the progress photos takes at least like 3 proper months to show. So how did you get yourself to continue to show up in the beginning when it was hard? Not saying that it wasn't hard, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I know. I think it was tricky. I think it was just almost like having to play mind games with myself. Like, you know, when it weren't moving, or them times where it did spike, like on the scale weight, or I weren't seeing any changes with the photos. I think it was just very much actually looking back at, like, I know in the early days, when I think it was 3 or 4 weeks in, when like I think the weight on the scales went up by about a kilo and a half 1 week, and I can't remember why or the ins and outs of it, but I remember being really pissed off, and I know you got a few pissed off messages that I bet you thought, oh, what's going on with Will? Why is he messaging me this? But I think things like that, it was almost, I had to think back to when actually the flip side of that. So it was like them few weeks before, when things were going really well, actually, how quick did that happen? Because it wasn't like I started it all and everything started dropping off straight away. It, like you say, it was like a couple of weeks, then it kind of went off. And then a couple of weeks, then it kind of went on. Like, that's not how it went, like, linear like that. But it was almost looking back to them times when it did come down and come off, and thinking it wasn't a overnight thing. Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, mate, that's fine. Like, it sounds to me it's like reflecting on the evidence.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's more like a matter of just trusting the process. Like, this is why I've been so keen on you to get as much data as possible, because it's very easy to make like emotional and rash decisions like in the moment, like, oh fuck, scales are spiked, fuck this shit. But when you've got like the actual data reflecting like the overall trend and you see a spike, then you can sort of react a bit more logically. Like, look, if I control these controllables, my food, my activity, like I go for my walks or whatnot, like, you know, sort of the outcome will eventually come. And when you are in them moments, like, you know, the scale weight has spiked like 1.5 kilos and you're like, oh, I want to sack this shit off, like, how did you overcome them?
I think it was just allowing myself to be pissed off initially. I think the thing that I know I did a couple of times was I'd get pissed off. I would hit the fuck it button nearly all the way. But then that's where I sort of, and I suppose I caught myself out there really, because initially it was like, oh, Jaden, I've hit the fuck it button. But it was like, but I've not fully hit it. So it's like, them very early days, I kind of got away with it. But then as time got on, it was like, right, there's only so many more times you can fully nearly hit this button and say. But then I think it was almost one of them where it was like, I realised it doesn't matter that I said to you, oh, I hit the fuck it button, but not all the way. I think it was sort of like the realisation that, yes, I'm noticing that's what I'm doing, but I'm not doing anything about it at the minute. I'm just letting myself get there. And I think that's one of the things, was I tried to stop myself feeling, if that makes sense. By hitting the fuck it button, don't have to think about it. I've kind of hit the fuck it button, but I've had a win because I've not fully hit it. So I think that's where it was, actually. Let me just be pissed off. Let me just sit down for 10 minutes and scream and want to kill everyone in the world. And it was just sitting with that for like 10-15 minutes, allowing myself just to be pissed off. Because it was almost, there was that time when I very first started where I wouldn't let myself be pissed off, and any other emotion except for happy, I wouldn't let myself feel. But that's where it's almost like, because I was trying to stop myself feeling like that, it built up more. And then it's like I said right at the start, like, we can all make an excuse when we want to, right? I made them excuses. Jaden, I've not 100% hit the fuck it button, but technically when you think about it, I kind of had. Because I'd hit it to the point, and the not devastation, that makes it sound like I just bombed a country, but do you know what I mean? Probably not the right phrase to come out with the state of the world at the minute, but
you're a good friend.
I mean?
Yeah, I think as well, it's like moving away from I'm either on or I'm either off. Right. I think in the beginning of our journey, I introduced you to the do something dial. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So like essentially, it's like you have 0 to 10. That's the complete fuck it zone. Like I'm doing everything left. I'm just raiding the cupboards. I'm not doing anything. And then you also have 100%. So like say if the goal was 10,000 steps, like you would do that, and then 101% would be like 10,010 steps. Like as an example, I think reframing that and just seeing, look, if I can do something, even if I turn the dial back to like 40%, I can still make progress to my goal. And it's not necessarily removing, it's actually replacing the all or nothing mentality with like a bit more nuance in a way. I remember at the beginning as well, like, I'm not going to label you as like someone that had that mentality, but it was very much either on or off. So
Oh no,
what
100% you can label it. Like sort of the depths. If I was going to do something, I was going to fucking do it to like the extreme, and if I weren't going to do anything, I'd do it to the extreme. It's like I remember my sister said that I wouldn't be able to make a sausage roll, and it was like,
oh my god, yeah.
that was it. That was absolutely it. It was like, screw you, I can make it. And I think sort of like, I think that was probably one of the weeks where my weight probably spiked because I just ate sausage rolls for a week, just proving it wrong.
Yeah. So on that then, like, how did you navigate that all or nothing approach? Because, you know, it, like, for example, if I go back to myself when I was training, it would be like back in 2022, like if I missed a session, that's it, I'm a fucking failure. What's the point? Like, you know, you're shit at this. But you mentioned like even during your half marathon preparation, like you skipped workouts or you didn't show up or you missed the run. So what's changed in your mindset to allow you to sort of continue to sharpen that way?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say I'm 100% perfect at it now. Still, I'd still say there's still a little bit of work to do there. But I think it is just the flexibility that I allow myself because, like, when we very, very first started, I think I had full free reign, a little bit more extra spare time. And it was almost like that all or nothing attitude. It kind of got a little bit over rigid.
Yeah.
Where it was, if it wasn't then, whatever, the world's going to explode. I don't even play Modern Warfare or anything. I don't know where all these explosion analogies are coming from. But sort of, I think it was very much that would be it, like the world's ending kind of thing. I think I still need to do better at bits like that, but I think it is just the realisation that actually, after a couple of times where I had no choice but to change or to skip, actually sort of like, I suppose it's like having that reflection time. Because I suppose that's something that I was only reflecting on how good or bad the workout or the run was. I wasn't reflecting on how effective it was, if that makes sense. Because I think that's the other thing that I noticed was there were a couple of times where I probably could have had a little bit more rest or skipped it, but it was just like I didn't, and actually it wasn't as effective, so it didn't actually, where I went to do it to make myself feel better, I was feeling worse because I went anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm not wrong, it's like it's getting to know yourself a little bit better and not necessarily like always forcing a session because you know sometimes it will lead to like worse outcomes. Like you will genuinely like feel terrible for it if I'm on the money there.
Yeah, because I think I can't remember how long ago it was, but I think I remember after one run, I sort of just sent you a voice note, and I was like, "That was absolutely fucking useless. Why the hell did I go out and do that?" And I can remember being really wound up by it. But again, it's one of them things where I let myself be pissed off. But then it's like I tried to work out why I was pissed off with it. And then when I knew why I was pissed off with it, I didn't forget about it, but I kind of moved on a little bit. I think so. It's almost like, yeah, learning when you need to push more and learning when actually you need to take your gas off the foot. The other way around. But
Yeah. So say someone's currently like still stuck in that mentality where like they get really frustrated and then they let that dictate their sort of actions and that, like, how would you sort of help them navigate that?
I think for me, the way sort of like I've done it is I've worked out why I'm frustrated. Because there's got to be a reason that you're frustrated. Do you know what I mean? You go to a football game. I really don't know that much about football, so this might go terribly wrong. But like, you go to a football game, your team's losing, you're not going to feel happy and on cloud nine. It's working out then if your team wins. Yeah, I knew that analogy would go really bad. If your team wins, you're going to be joyous. But it's like, move away from the team and actually, why were you feeling frustrated at them losing? Well, obviously because they've lost. But it's like, then actually it might be, is there a player on that team that you don't like, and they're a reason that the football didn't go in the net? And that's where you get more frustrated because of that.
Yeah, I think
That analogy went terrible.
no. It makes sense because it's not necessarily your. To me, it's like curiosity,
Yeah.
right? Like you're curious on like, okay, why am I actually feeling this way, and what can I do about it, as well, you know? Because you'll deal with certain emotions, man. But if you don't even know where they're coming from, and then ultimately what to do about it, then it's just like you're sort of getting swayed in the wind, like. So, for example, like when you do feel like sort of bad, and you're not in the mood, like, well, right, what? Getting curious, like, was it because I had poor sleep, or like, was it because I was stressed, or like, was it because of this X, Y, and Z? It's like you said something earlier in the podcast, and I think acceptance.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck! Like I think that was the like really beautiful when you said that, because like. We have this expectation sometimes, like, oh, things have to go perfect, things have to be on point, like there is no alternative. And then you've got like, when you do feel shit and when you are going through the motions, like you've set this expectation, like, I must feel good all the time, training must be good, I must be making progress and then you're left with a gap, and then that gap just makes you sort of feel worse. And then like when you feel worse, you're less likely to be considerate of like the future version of yourself, and so on. So how some people are like quite skeptical about coaching, and I think there's probably a good like reason why, like, you know what I mean, with obviously your previous experience, we won't dive into that, but how have you sort of found it?
I found it decent this time. I think sort of I have done it in the past, like sort of obviously won't dive into it, some good, some bad. What's that? Is there a film or something? The Good, the Bad, the Ugly?
I don't know, mate. My film knowledge is in the trenches, mate.
I'm sure there's a film, like it's an animation by Disney or something, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or is it whatever it is? But I think this time round it has just been that high level accountability from the coach, and almost like being able to get pinpointed in the direction of where I need to be, or if I am having a complete Jaden, the world is ending, then it's almost like you're like, I mean, this is probably just because it's the way me and you were, but you're just like, well, shut up, look at the world around you, see what's happening. And I think it is just that adaptability to everything. Because like I said, the half marathon wasn't even anything we really, really sat down and spoke about doing. I think it did come from a call when I was just like, what the hell's going on? I don't know what to do anymore. It's all getting a bit boring. Help me work out what to do. And I think that's where the sort of idea of the half marathon came out. And then it was sort of, I think I did laugh at you, to be fair. I think I did laugh at you when you first said it, but then it was like, actually, after having a little conversation after, I can't remember word for word what was said.
Yeah, of course.
But it's almost like after having that conversation after, it was like, maybe this is possible. But then it has been sort of like, a bit like I said, I've needed to be adaptable and be like, I'm not doing that today, or I've got to change that today, or I've got to do this instead today. You've then been adaptable to where the programme needs to change. Or I know when I had to do it a couple of times one week, I was like, yeah, but Jaden, I've not done half of what you've told me to do. And then you were just like, yeah, but Will, look at where you are here, and look at where you are here. Like, you were struggling to even get a kilometre around the bloody park, and now you've just done like 26 kilometres in a week. Like, it doesn't matter that you were meant to do 30 kilometres this week, when you couldn't even do 2 kilometres when we first started this. I don't know why my voice has gone really weird, but like, when we first started, do you know what I mean? Or I think my favourite ever message you ever sent was when I was panicking about, oh, I don't know if I can run outside. I can do it on the treadmill in the gym a little bit, but I'm not sure if I can do it outside. What do you reckon I should do? And I think it was just a pure one of them one-liners.
Yeah,
What was it? There's only one way to find out.
mate.
I feel like that's more of a you had to be there at the moment, even though it was a text. But it was almost, when I read that, it was just like, there's only one way to find out. And I think my reply literally was, I asked for that, didn't I?
Yeah, mate. I actually remember that like it was yesterday, because there is, you know what I mean. Like, it's so easy to let self-limiting beliefs and things get in the way and to stop you taking action. But like, there is only one way to find out if something goes shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you do it, like, and it's also like break it down. It's like you just put one foot in front of the other. Like, not to oversimplify it too much, but it essentially is that, just a very, very fast walk, and you lean forward a little bit, and you use the ball of your foot and you get going, sort of thing. You know what I mean? We also had like a conversation the other day. I want you to discuss the importance of them bad times and why they've been important and pivotal on your journey as well.
Should have expected that. You did say that you were going to ask me that. But yeah, I suppose it is like, sort of, I said the good, the bad and the ugly in the past, because obviously sort of I've worked with other people where it's like I've kind of stepped away from them, they've kind of stepped away from me, and it's almost, I think that was the turning point, because everything was going wrong. And as much as I know I've said in this like thing, like, just accept the emotions kind of thing. I think it is because I didn't have a structure to doing that at the time. One thing led to another thing not happening. It's like, stopped going for my walk, stopped journaling, stopped reading my book, I can't remember how it was when it was like that, but like, I'd stopped little by little, and then it did just get tough, really tough. There was lots of things going on, and obviously I think that's where it did get to a point where I know you were like, well, look, I can help you as much as I can, but at the minute, just have a little bit of time to yourself, work out what's going on, and then come back. And I think, not that I'd suggest that being what happens with everyone, but I think that was kind of needed for that pause, just to have that breathing space, not just for me, but I think for you as well. And I think it was very much coming back. It almost, in a backwards way, that shouldn't have motivated me the way it did. But that did help motivate me, because it was almost like, I think at that point, it was almost, you were like the excuse. It was almost, it's fine, I'm doing this, it's fine, I'm working the trading, and I think it's sort of like, that's why at the time, that's kind of what was needed.
I think at the end of the day as well, like, you're responsible for your progress, mate. Like, you know, I've obviously done the calls, I've helped out like the guidance and the support, but at the end of the day, I think it's just like come down to you. Like, you probably realise, like, hang on, like, I'm in charge. Like, if I run this up, it's responsible to me, because although I was there, you know, I can't force you to fucking run. Like, I can't, like, even in the, mate, I tried forcing you to run. You was walking, brother. I was like, okay, right, this is how it is. But like, I think that's the beauty of it, man, because it's, at the end of the day, like, it comes down to you to find your way to get over them problems. Like, what works for me and how can I learn from that? Because like, you, like, for example, I kept pushing you to run. I was like, come on, let's go, let's run. Like, and even then I think you realise, like, oh fuck, right, maybe next time when I stop during a race, I'm not going to do that again, because there's some lessons that you just have to realise for yourself.
Yeah. I think the funniest part was, I don't know, the guy in the green shirt that was running around near us.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you actually heard him, because you were a little bit further ahead. I think that's when I kept stop-starting and I kept on like shouting and calling your names under the sun. But like, every time I moaned or I called you a name, he literally was just giggling. So I think that's why when he went past us, that's why he made such the effort to like just have a little bit of a laugh and joke, to make it like Yeah, that was because I just kept hearing this giggling. I'm like, what the hell is this giggling going on for? But it made sense when he came past us. It made sense. That was, yeah,
I on that as well, man. Like, I think we sometimes take goals very seriously,
yeah,
like so serious to the point like I make progress or I don't, and then as you mentioned, like it's the end of the world, or like, and it's just like we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform, and sometimes that just ends up like being it harms your performance and how you want to show up, because you're like, fucking hell, like, I just want to explode. I don't even want to do this. I'm putting so much pressure on myself internally, where it's like, if you can learn to have fun and start seeing the positives within certain situations and just laugh.
yeah. It
And
was, but I think that's where. I mean, I'm not sure if you even understood me by that point because I was just breathless. But I think that's where there was one point where I did start to walk for a little bit, even though you told me not to, and that's like you say, you've got to learn the hard way. I think that's why I did walk a little bit more rather than like try and belt it, because in my mind it was going to take me 2 hours and 20, 2 hours and 10. So in my mind, and I suppose this is where it's like bad and good, like there's different arguments to be had about it, but that's why I was like, Jaden, chill out. I know I'm doing it in 2 hours. I'm happy with that. Um, and that's where it sort of. Don't get me wrong. Like you knew, I'd probably say I wish I hadn't have stopped for so long because I wish I had have done a little bit quicker. But at the same time, I think that's where it was. Right, let me just chill, not chill, so to say. Let me just have this little minute of walking. But again, to be fair, if you weren't there, then actually, would I have walked for as short amount of time as I did, or would I have let myself, not let myself go, but almost let myself slack? Because I still would have done it no matter what, but would I have slacked more?
yeah, you mentioned as well like learning the hard way. I think there's some lessons on who like your fat loss journey or whatever it might be. Like there's some things that you just have to figure out for yourself. Like I've had my own experience. I like every time you stop with a run, the blood pools at the bottom of your legs, circulation, legs get heavier. Legs get heavier. It's more painful because there's more weight in them and all of that. But now you've probably realised, like, if you was to do that again, or like a marathon or whatever it might be, like you probably have a good idea of, right, if I'm gonna stop, it needs to be like for minimal time.
Yeah, minimal time and for purpose, because I think at the time it was just me just being a bit of a wimp, sort of like stopping. And I realised after I'd stopped, that's when I realised actually you didn't need you would have needed to stop before the end of the race. I'll stick by that. I would have needed to stop before the end of the race, not stop, but you know what I mean. But like I wouldn't have done it as quick because then I look back now, and if you look at all the runs, my long runs anyway, leading up to the half marathon, actually it's something I didn't mention it to you actually before. I probably should have. But one pattern that I did notice was as soon as I stopped for the first time, I weren't getting more than 2k after that. And that didn't matter whether you'd said to do a long run of 15k. If I stopped at 6k, I weren't getting over 8k. And that's because I made that initial stop or walk. So I should have knew from him. But again, it's sort of like something to look for the next time.
Yeah, that's important as well. Like none of us are a finished product. Like, you know what I mean? Like even when it comes to navigating like all or nothing mentalities and all of that, like all of this is a skill.
Yeah.
The only way you get better at skills is by doing the thing. There's such a good quote. Socrates, Epictetus, fucking Winston Churchill. I don't know who said it, mate. Like everyone just spits out quotes nowadays. But like you become a plumber by plumbing, you become a runner by running. You like, you know what I mean? Like you learn it through doing the thing and getting better at it, and you refine it and you learn.
Or I'd call it praxis.
Yeah, and I think you.
Total different like conversation.
But even for yourself, man, like the other day, like we had a conversation about snacking and whatnot, and like you've even come to realise the triggers. Like you, mate, sometimes we chat and you self-coach yourself and you don't even realise.
Yeah, I think my problem a bit like I think when I very first like start, my problem is I know it, I'm just not very good at doing it, if that makes sense. So, like, I know, well, now anyway, at the time I didn't, it was kind of fun, but I know now I was mindlessly snacking. Whereas at the time it was, oh, I'm in a new environment, let's have a snack. It's what everyone else is doing. So it was almost like, at the time I was socially conforming. But then it was that night, and the next day it was like, I weren't socially conforming. I saw the snacks, and I weren't saying no to snacks. Free snacks. Who the hell says no to free snacks? Not me.
Yeah.
But then it was almost like I was getting home, and I think it was until I'd sent you, like, sort of the calories and protein for the day, I didn't realise how much that snacking was having an impact. Because obviously, sort of been deloaded a little bit this week. And I think on top of everything else, it was like, oh, it's deload. I'll get away with a little bit more if it goes a little bit over. But I guess it is sort of like that will probably be the next challenge going forward of when we're back onto proper target. Although not saying we're not on proper targets now, but almost in my head, I suppose that's it, isn't it? In my head, although we've set targets for this week, which are much higher in terms of food, actually in my head it's deload week. So it's like, yeah, it's got a target there, but really, I can kind of get away with anything for this week. So that's where the mindless snacking was being mindless.
Yeah. On that as well, like, there's no self-development without awareness. So even, like, you realising that, like, oh, I'm actually reaching for free snacks. Like, because when you are in the moment, sometimes, mate, you just have it and you don't actually even appreciate, like, oh, I'm not even hungry. I'm just, like, kind of doing it because it's there. Yeah. But the one thing I've noticed in yourself is you were so incredibly hard on yourself in the beginning. Oh my fuck. Like, mate, you would beat yourself up like no other. Whereas, I could be wrong, but to me now, everyone gets blips of it, of course, but the frequency of which you do that, like, seems to change.
Yeah, I think I still do it to a degree, but nowhere near as bad as I used to do it. And I think it is that whole thing around reflection. Like, do you know what I mean? In my practice, reflection's massive in my practice, but sort of like not at home. The reflection is reflection in work. And it's almost like, in a weird way, I've never done it that way. And that's where actually I need to take that reflection time and put it into myself and not just for everything else.
And when you say you reflect, like, what does that currently look like for you at the minute?
Reflect, it looks like a walk. I did journal, and I am thinking about going back to journaling. Not journal for a while, just because I'm just lapsing, I forget to do it, and then I think that's just, yeah. Because the other thing is as well, typically at night or in the morning I'll go for a walk, and that's when essentially I'll verbally, like, almost do the journaling in my head anyway. Because it'll just be the case of, if it's the gym session, it's the walk home. Like, right, so how did that go? Did that go okay? Oh, I'll have a look at the videos later. If it's about the running, typically I'll do it on the way home, or if not, it is very much I'll wait until my walk that night. I'll go for a walk and it'll be like, right, how did today go? What we're going to do tomorrow? So yes, that's where sort of like walking. I don't know, if you had said to me a year ago, we'll go for a walk, you'll feel much better, I would have just laughed in your face. Honestly, I'd laughed in your face. I think someone did actually say that to me. I said all sorts of funny stuff to them, but
yeah, that's beautiful, man. Like, I'm an absolute slut for fucking journaling. But you know what I mean? And I think it's like, journaling is different for everyone, and it's what works for you. I personally, I go on iCloud Notes, write the date, do my journal, do my brain dump, and like someone said this to me. It's better to express your subconscious in private than it is through your actions, behaviours, or words.
Ooh, I like that.
And mate, like, because when you're in the moment, you're like, oh, fuck this, like, and you lash out at people, or, you know, you sack off the goals or whatnot temporarily for a day, but like, if you just express that energy onto something, or you digress it through your head, and you actually look at it from a different lens, like rather than the rose tinted glasses as you mentioned to me, like looking at it as cyan glasses, or like yellow glasses, or like, you know what I mean, all these different perspectives. And like the thing that I'm even just noticing now, you get curious on the problem and you've stopped attacking yourself so much. Whereas like initially in the beginning part, it was like, I'm a failure, that was a shit session, yada yada. Whereas now it's like, even just your language, like, oh, how did that go? How come it went like that?
Yeah, it is very much like sort of. I suppose it's like you always say attack, like sort of. I know probably in the fitness industry you do as well, but it's like we'd say attack the problem, not the person. And it's almost like, I suppose now I'm doing that a lot more because it would be, I'm not attacking the problem, I'm attacking me. Like not physically punching myself, that'd hurt. But like almost I'd be verbally attacking myself, but actually no, let's attack what it is that's happened that's made me want to do that.
There will be some people that have like churn it, like, what the fuck, man, like all of that shit, wishy-washy, right? Why is it important to attack the problem and not yourself as a person?
Because I think when I was attacking the person rather than the problem got bigger, was bigger, was a lot. Like that's why I like most things. If it's a big decision, I'll sleep on it. Or I know like when I had loads going on at one point, and I probably should do it when I've not got loads going on, but I only typically do it when I've got loads going on. I will brain dump what the hell's keeping me awake at night if I'm laying there. Like I say, I'll Apple Notes, write everything down that's keeping me awake. I can forget about it, go to sleep. And I was waking up in the morning and I could just knock about 80% of that stuff off. And like, right, why was that keeping me? Why was the fact a bird is being noisy keeping me up at night? It shouldn't be keeping me up at night. Do you know what I mean? Oh, but the bird might hit my window and smash it. In what world is that going to happen? And if it does, it's going to wake you up. And it's going to cost you a new window.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But at the time it was, right, it's my problem not having a shatterproof window.
Yeah.
Like, any window's a window.
Yeah. Nah, that's sick, man. Like, yeah. And on top of that as well, say that fucking imaginary bird, or like that bird did smack you. I love this saying to myself, it's like it's a bit of a cure for anxiety. It's like, deal with the problem as it comes.
Yeah.
So simple.
Oh, I can't remember when I very first started, my brain would be 1,000 miles down the road and you'd like, Will, you've not even stepped foot in the gym yet. Yeah, but when I do step foot in the gym, bloody this person's going to be there and might look at there.
Oh my god, yeah.
This person's going to do this. I'm going to fall over and someone's going to bloody pants me or whatever it's called nowadays. I don't know what everyone calls it. The bloody gym roof's going to fall down. I'm going to fall off the and like sort of that whole, do you know, almost like all them funny videos you see on Facebook that like typically don't really happen. They happen very seldom, but because they're so viral, it goes viral, and it's like, that's going to happen to me.
Mate, I actually I completely forgot that you didn't go to the gym regularly. That was something that was built.
Yeah, so in my times I've been in and been out of gyms, but typically sort of when I used to go to the gyms, it was with a trainer, and then he used to be like, yeah, you need to come when you're not with me as well, but I wouldn't. And then the other people, righty, don't matter about them. But it's sort of, yeah, when we very first started, I was still doing stuff in my office up here. Don't know why I'm looking down there, as if everyone can see me looking and see what's actually down there. But yeah, that first time I went into that gym, walked up to Milligan Road, back down to the gym.
I've actually just remembered that. Yeah, like that's actually brought back like a load of memories. Like I remember even filming yourself, man. Do you
now I don't really care.
Mate, you fucking send me 3 videos for every single exercise. I love it. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Like, let's go. Let's look at the last one. Let's see how intense you're... Man, that's mad. So, say if someone's like got similar feelings to like anxiety, fear, you know, whether it's filming themselves or showing up to a different gym, or they're about to embark on a new challenge, like what would you say to them to help them overcome that, or any questions you'd ask, like how would you sort of help someone?
3 different questions. because going
Yeah,
in,
fuck that up. Yeah.
filming, and then what was the other one?
Yeah, so okay, I guess the common denominator there is then like how would you help someone take action despite being scared or like despite having that fear, despite having that anxiety? How would you encourage them to still move forward?
I think if it was like where I am at the minute, it's like a small independent gym in it. It's a brilliant gym. Um, but sort of with that, I think getting through the gym door is just, it's not as easy as saying get through the gym door, but like I know for me being on the phone to you until I spoke to that person on reception, that helped massively. I don't even think we were talking about the gym. I think you were talking about something completely random. I can't remember the conversation, but I remember you were on about something random until that person on reception acknowledges you, and then I was just like, I mean, I politely was like, Jaden, piss off, someone's here, piss off. Um,
Oh wow.
so that's how I go about getting in the gym, is just phoning someone and talking to them, because you can walk in, and worst comes to worst, if I had have absolutely went into panic attack mode, I could have just walked out and be like, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong place, I thought my mate was here, because I was on the phone to you, weren't I?
Mm.
The filming part, I suppose it depends on the gym. I think that because there are, although I look comfortable with filming, I wouldn't say I'm 100% comfortable all the time. 80% of the time I am, but there's 10% of the time where it is a little bit like, still a little bit like, oh. But then I suppose once you've done that first one and people have seen you doing that anyway.
The one thing I really admire you for is the amount of courage you've displayed in your journey. Like I really think back to it now and like reflecting on the whole thing. Like so, people get confused, especially me. Like at a previous time was like, mate, like why am I getting anxiety about this? Like I shouldn't. Like, and I should just feel fine. I should feel. But that wouldn't be courage. That would just be normal thing. Whereas like courage is doing the activity that scares you, despite having the negative emotions attached. And mate, from the day you reached out to your nutrition to like literally walking foot in that gym, even filming like videos, man. And then obviously that we had that blip, and then you still had the courage to come back because like you didn't have to, you did not have to come back, and then like then to have the courage to fucking buy a ticket to a half marathon, and then the courage to embark on training, like the courage to fucking do a 3K to your longest run of 18K, mate. That shit's not normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And it didn't, I think you make that, sorry, like this is me obviously talking myself down probably, but you made that sound like it was all linear and easy. It wasn't. It wasn't as linear and easy as that. It was a lot longer of a process. So I know sort of like, it sounds like it was nothing. It wasn't nothing, but again, it is sort of, I think it's everything built. It was almost like, I don't know, I've been doing something with Lego this week. Almost like a Lego thing doesn't just appear unless you pay the premium price for someone to build it for you, like, but you've got to build it bit by bit. And it's like all them little bits you just said, actually, there have been little pieces of Lego that eventually came together to the half marathon.
can I ask you a question? If you did pay that premium price for that Lego to be built, would you have valued it as much compared to if you did it yourself?
No way.
That's the fascinating part, right? Like the effort and the hard and the difficulty and fucking putting one Lego piece on the wrong Lego piece, and then you have to take the whole fucking thing down, and then all of a sudden, like, you have to fucking try and fail, mate. You got like this mad fucking, like, even with your puzzles, because obviously I know you do like a few jigsaw puzzle things, like, mate, and you've like, oh my god, I've moved 3 fucking pieces, I have to take the whole thing apart. But then, like, once you do it, you actually appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's it. If it had been easier, I wouldn't have. If it had been easy to run that, like, do you know what I mean? I have done a park run in the past. I can't say that I've never done a park run, but that was just, yeah, park run. Yeah, done. Right, I'm going to go down to Spoons. Well, probably not go down to Spoons at that time in the morning, but do you know what I mean? I'm going to go to the shop, go to the cafe, get myself a big brunchy breakfast, and carry on my day. Like, because the 5K wouldn't have been as difficult or as turmoil as a half marathon. And I think sort of like, even I've noticed it myself, I've not actually had this discussion with you, but I think the language as well, I know you said language, my language has changed. At the start, when I first signed up to a marathon, people were always like, "Oh my god!" Da, 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 da. But I was like, "Yeah, but it's only half a marathon." Whereas it's like now, the closer to it, it's like not saying, "Oh, it's only half marathon." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's a half marathon." Almost like saying it with, "It's a half marathon," rather than when I very first started, it was like, "Yeah, but it's only half a marathon, not a full marathon." Do you know what I mean? I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I did.
Mate, I'm like lost for words. Like just like seeing, you can't make this shit up.
No.
Like,
It is mad because I think even with that exercise we did when we first started, I think there's only two things in there that I wrote that I haven't achieved. But them two things are things that are well outside of our control. I think they're more career focused, which
yeah,
obviously isn't. I can't control whether an interview likes me or not.
yeah. But you adapted. Like, even in recent times where things haven't gone according to plan, like say interviews didn't, like, it's not like perhaps previously that might have been an excuse to like fuck a bum.
Oh yeah, that was a massive trigger. Oh yeah, without that.
I remember.
Sorry, we really liked you, but there's someone that we just feel a bit more suited. Oh, the fucking wankers, they're only saying that because they have to be polite. No, they're not. Ruh, 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 ruh. I did this right, I did that right, I did everything. Ruh, ruh. Do you know, like, yeah, and then whereas recently it's just been, it's the look of the draw. Well, it's not the look of the draw, but more recently it's...
That's fucking, yeah, that's wicked, man. On that note, like, I can't believe we've been chatting for 47 minutes.
Jesus.
Mate.
If anyone wants to have a job going, then please feel free to...
On that note, I'm gonna start rounding it off here.
Yeah, Sam.
What would you say to someone like in your shoes, man? Like I'm not gonna describe what your old shoes felt like, but like say they are in that sort of not so comfortable position. What would you say to them? And
Get
what
out of my shoes. No, not really.
Get out. Yeah.
Sorry, you
No,
shouldn't
no,
have
no.
been like that. I don't know, I think it's embrace and try. Because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know if you can achieve something if you don't know you can achieve it.
Don't get splinters.
Don't get split. Oh, you remembered that.
Yeah, I do. I think that's fucking brilliant. Do you explain that, like, for people that don't get it, that don't get splinters thing?
Yeah, so last week when Jada was here, we were doing like a testimonial video after, sort of just back here. I think, did you do that before? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And he basically asked me if someone was sitting on the fence, what would you, someone was sitting on the fence for coaching, what would you say to them? And before he'd even finished the question, I was like, "Jeez, don't get splinters."
That's fucking brilliant. Like, that is actually, because like, mate, that analogy is fucking great. Because like, even when you are in that tricky middle, like of like I don't feel the best, but like that's like splinters. Like, you know, a splinter, like it's painful, but it's not like agonizing to the point where you like cut your whole leg open.
No.
And it just keeps prodding at you. So like, yeah, just don't like either choose one choice or the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I suppose actually, like when you talk about that analogy, it almost goes back to, oh, I can't remember who says it. I think everyone says it, to be fair, about the pain of change and the pain of staying the same. It's almost like until that splinter gets hard enough.
Yeah. Until it becomes a fucking steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where
But I really fancy steak. That's like the fourth time you said steak to me today.
Mate, you know what? Yeah, when I'm back in Leicester, bro, like we need to go for that carvery again.
Oh, that was
Mate.
bad.
Yeah.
You should have went up and got seconds because I think you could have got seconds at that carve. Right?
Oh, mate, I was stuffed. Like, Will, for anyone that doesn't know, Will made the most beautiful cheesecake ever. Like, I'm talking like a slab. A fucking slab. Like, mate, that could have been sat on concrete type of slab of weight. And it was a fucking cheesecake. And I had like I think like 2 slices. And man, that was the most beautiful thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm stuffed. I was like, yeah. So, nah, man, like, I'm proud of you, bro. Like, genuinely, I said it to you in person. Like, words can't even describe, like, your fucking journey, bro. Like, and...
Yeah, it's mad. It is absolutely mad.
And you're an inspiration. like even to myself. And like, you lead by example. Obviously, we know what's happening at home now, which is even fucking sick beyond words. And yeah, man, thank you for your time and attention. If anyone wants to keep up to date with Will's journey, because we're going to be having a chat after this talking about his new goals, where can they find you, bro? If you want to plug your socials or not, it's not a...
It would just be, I don't actually know what it is. Is it just my name, William Hough?
If you guys go to my post on Instagram, I believe I tagged Will, or he's in the comments, and you can find his profile there. But basically, he's been documenting his journey, and you can see the first run. You can see his thought process in lifetime. I even remember someone on Facebook commenting under your post like, "Will, you're so fucking hard to yourself," and it's like, sort out. And yeah, like, you can see his mindset change. And for anyone that is in a similar situation, like, this man, like, yeah, sick. Like, you know what I mean?
Lots more analogies there as well.
But yeah, all good. All right, I'm going to bring this round to an end. We've got a bunch of other podcast episodes out, more content coming your way. But yeah, Will, thanks so much for your time. And yeah, man.
Nice one.